Hello my bakers, and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we'll make some no-knead sourdough pizza. And as the name suggests, this is super low effort. And it's perfect when you're busy, or when you're tired, or when you're just feeling a bit lazy. It is so easy to make, and the result, as you can see, is amazing. So as always, you'll find a full detailed recipe down in the description box with metric and imperial units. So no matter where you're from, you'll be able to follow this recipe. Alright, let's get on with it. First things first, let's see what equipment we need. We'll need a bowl, scales, dough scraper, a temperature probe, and a non-stick tray. If you don't have a non-stick tray, use some parchment paper. Although a non-stick tray will work best for this. Now on to the ingredients. You'll need some strong white bread flour, some water, salt, olive oil, and a sourdough starter that's nice and active. And for some tips on how to make your own starter and how to keep it active, click the link in the top right corner. Right, first things first, we have to make a leaven. And all it is a portion of the total water mixed with a portion of the total flour and a little bit of your sourdough starter. The leaven is the thing that makes the dough rise, but also gives it extra flavor. And making it is super simple. Get your water, add your sourdough starter, give it a quick mix, then add the flour, and mix until you don't see any more dry flour. That's it, simple as that. Then we'll leave it to ferment. And remember that an active starter will produce an active leaven. And once you've mixed it up, you can leave it in a bowl, but I'm gonna put it in a jar to show you how it's rising. It'll take around 10 to 12 hours. Of course, if your kitchen is very cold, it may take longer. If it's warm, it may take less time. It should definitely double in size, be nice and bubbly. But it has to be nice and strong and not overproofed. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. So it's the next day, we start making the dough. Grab the bowl, add the water. My water is 20 degrees Celsius. If you want to learn more about dough temperature control, click the link in the top right corner. Let's get on with this. To the water, you want to add your salt and your olive oil, and then give it all a good mix. You won't dissolve any large salt crystals before adding the rest of the ingredients. Now let's add the leaven. As you can clearly see, I'm actually struggling to get this out of the jar. It's super strong. If you touch your leaven and it collapses instantly, and if you can pour it out of your jar, it's over fermented. You need to start over. But if it's puffed up, still nice and stretchy and glutinous, it's good to go. Now add the flour and start mixing with your dough scraper. You want to mix this dough well. We want to distribute the ingredients evenly throughout it. And if you're struggling with the scraper, continue on by hand. You just want to make sure that everything's nicely combined. Once you're happy with it, grab a spatula, scrape down the sides, just to get the dough into one bowl. Now we can cover it up and leave it to rest for 5 minutes. So instead of kneading this dough, we need to do something to develop the gluten. This we will achieve by performing a series of folds. Oh yeah, don't forget to take the temperature. 22.5 degrees. This will take me around 8 hours of fermentation, which is okay. If your dough is warmer, it'll take less time. If it's cooler, it'll take longer. Anyway, back to the folds. What I like to do is wet both my hands, and then using one hand I hold the dough down, and using the other one I fold the dough over, going around in a circle until I reach the point where I started. Then flip it upside down so the folds don't come undone, cover it up, and leave it to rest for 5 more minutes. And we'll continue doing this 3 more times. And with each subsequent fold, you'll notice the dough becoming smoother and less sticky. And this is how most no-knead breads are done. You're just replacing the kneading with folds. It may take longer, but you spend less energy, right? So look, it's a 4th fold now. The dough has become nice and smooth. It's really easy to handle. You almost don't need to wet your hands anymore. Make sure you get it nice and tight, because this is the last chance to give it any structure. You can pinch the bottom seam together as well. Now pop it back into the bowl, cover it up, and leave it for 6 hours. It should definitely double in size before you take the next step. And as I said, if it's cooler, it'll take longer. If it's warmer, it'll take less time. But this looks about right to me. Now grab some olive oil and pour it around the dough. This will keep it from sticking to your tray, and it will also give it a nice crust. Now grab your scraper and release the dough from the bowl. You want to cover the whole surface of the dough in the oil, so just roll it around in the bowl. Look at how nice and light it looks, it's full of bubbles. I can already feel that it's gonna be a nice tray pizza. And speaking of trays, grab your tray and pop your dough in it. Now I'm using a 25cm or 10-inch square tray. It is the perfect size for this amount of dough, but you could use any tray you want. Just make sure that it's not too small, otherwise the dough will be too thick. This is already a really thick pizza, which is good, but you don't want it any thicker than this, so don't use a smaller tray, that's what I mean. Now cover this baby up and leave it to ferment for around 2 hours. We did deflate it a bit whilst handling, and it should puff up again. During the final hour of fermentation, preheat your oven to 130 degrees Celsius with a fan off. You want your oven to be nice and hot before baking. Yeah, this looks about right. It's nice and bubbly, nice and light. You can spread it out a little bit more just to fit the corners. Now get your favorite toppings and assemble your pizza. I've got some mozzarella, sausage, basil, oregano, and some homemade tomato sauce. And if you want to make your own tomato sauce, here's a guide. It is super simple. Get some good quality tinned tomatoes, add some salt, olive oil, a couple of garlic cloves, some leftover basil stalks, blitz it up, and it's done. Right, the way I like to cover it, start off with the mozzarella, but don't use all of it. This will form a barrier and keep the dough from getting soggy. Now add the tomato sauce, and don't go crazy, you don't want too much here. Less is more. And now just continue on with the rest of the ingredients. Pop some basil on there, sprinkle some oregano, and the sausage. You could actually do the rest of the cheese first, and then the sausage on top, but I decided to put the sausage and then the cheese on top. But whatever floats your boat. There's no rules, make your pizza the way you like it. Just one thing to remember is not to overdo it. You don't want too much toppings on it, otherwise the base is not gonna bake properly. Now let's get this baby in the oven. It'll take around 20 to 25 minutes. And once it's nicely puffed up and golden brown all over, it's ready. I would leave it to set for 5 minutes before removing it from the tray. But this is how easy it is. Super low effort, great result. And as always, if you have any questions or suggestions, drop them down in comments. Subscribe for more videos and check out my channel because it's full of recipes. But not only that, I also teach bread baking principles. Now check out that charred edge. That's what you want in your tray pizza. Right, enough of this delicious goodness. Go and make your own one. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.